guys, welcome to another puppy vlog. In today's video, Wally and I are going to be sharing our 6 super hacks for potty training. These are the tips and tricks that helped us potty train Wally at under 9 weeks old when we first brought him home. We use these in conjunction with my 1-step proactive potty training process. At the end of this video, I'm going to share some common potty signals and cues that your puppy is telling you that you may not realize. It's really going to help this process. So let's jump in right now. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I do not believe in free food. And what I mean by that is I am not a big fan of putting dog food bowls on the floor. And what I have here is Wally's lunch. You can see he's very food motivated. And the reason he's not lunging for this, he's still young and learning, is we have taught him and shown him that, okay, mealtime, you're gonna work for your food. And he loves it. Why? Because dogs love working. Yes, even young puppies. He's been doing this since we brought him home at 8 weeks old. And by the way, if you're new here, this isn't my puppy. This is technically my mom's puppy. So this is technically my little brother, but I live close and I love working with him and cute puppies, so why not? All right, Wally, so what we're gonna do is while we talk about these potty training super hacks to really accelerate your potty training, I'm gonna work with Wally on his place command. Okay, Wally, can you place? Yes, good boy. So he got it. So I'm going to reward that. And so for the first super hack for potty training is to feed them their meals, very relevant to this, at the same time every single day when they're puppies. Now, my dogs, my 2 dogs are 3 and almost 11 years old. I feed them at random times throughout the day. And the reason this is helpful is because then you can get their bladder and their bowel on a schedule. We knew Wally's schedule to 90% accuracy because in the beginning, and we still do, we feed him pretty much the same times every single day. He gets breakfast 6 a.m. every single day. Whether we want to wake up or not, he's ready to go, and that's when he has breakfast. We also know, because we have such a routine, that he's going to need to go number 1 within 5 minutes of eating, and then he will go number 2 every morning within 30 to 45 minutes of having his breakfast, and that's his body's routine. It makes it really easy for me to predict when he's gonna go out. Now, I really love this next super hack. It is probably one of the fastest ways to reinforce going potty outside or potty on whatever place you're gonna have them go potty on. Some people use mats or grass pads, but I'm gonna scoot back here so he gets used to practicing staying on the mat even if I'm back here. When they're outside and they go number 1 or number 2, the best way to reinforce it and to teach them to continue going outside, hi Haven, this is my cat, is to reward them at the perfect right timing. And this really matters. Yes, good boy. This is a big distraction for him because there's a cat right here that he loves to chase. So I'm gonna reward that here real quick. Good job. Yes, good boy. If you hear me saying YES to him, that's his marker word, where it's essentially my way to definitively say what you're doing is appropriate, good job. If you back that up with something of high value, whether that's a toy, praise, or food or treats, in the beginning, not forever, but in the beginning, it really puts a lot of meaning and power behind that YES marker cue. Good job. With a cat walking by, I'm so happy. Now for the best timing and the best way to reward your puppy to go when they're going potty outside is to reward them this is key, to reward them as they are completing their business. Not after, not before. A lot of people will wait, okay, my puppy squatted, they went number 1, they finished, and then we go, oh, good job, I'm so proud of you, here's treats and play and praise. And that can work, but it's gonna work slowly. What I have found to be so effective is to reward them as they're completing their business, like while they're in the act of it. So how this looks is, let's say he was squatting right now. As he's squatting, I go, yes, go potty, and then I reward him with treats, play, or praise. I do it towards the end of his stream. There's a little bit of a timing balance there. And again, if your puppy seems really distracted by giving them food, you could just use verbal praise. It's just all about the timing and rewarding them as they are finishing up their business. So they know, okay, this is what I should be doing. And then over time, you can start putting a word to it. For my dogs, I use tap your kidney for number 1, and I use hurry, hurry for number 2. But this is such a powerful thing to do to really avoid dogs that will ask you to go outside and kind of fake pee. I've fostered dozens and dozens of rescue dogs. Many of you guys know that, and most of which were puppies that I've potty trained. And many of them are very smart, just like Wally here, and they learn, okay, if I go outside and pretend to go potty, I'm gonna get treats or play or praise. So I wanna make sure they know that I'm rewarding them for actually doing their business. The other pro tip on this is kind of pro tip 2.0 super hack is to have a treat jar that has an easy removable lid right by the back door, so that as you're going out, if you want to have treats as the reinforcement, then you can easily grab them on the way out. And I actually forgot about this next super hack until my mom brought Wally home a few weeks ago, and I was helping with potty training, and it was something that, yes, good boy. And it was something that, again, it's been a little bit since I've had a foster puppy in the house because we just moved to Oregon, long story short. All the videos for those updates are down below. And one thing to remember, especially young, small puppies, especially small breeds, their bladders can take up to 6, maybe even 8, 9 months to fully develop. So what that means is, yes, good boy, when they're going potty outside, let's say they go number 1 over by the bushes, they may come back inside and 2 minutes later have an accident inside. Reason for that is they don't always empty their bladder fully on their first try. So one super pro hack, really important thing to do is once they go potty outside, reward them as they're finishing their act and give them a few more minutes to sniff around. So that means this isn't go play, run around. This is make sure they have the opportunity to sniff and relieve themselves and be super, super cognizant and aware of their behavior. I'm going to talk in just a moment about certain signals and cues to look for dogs that are puppies that need to go potty, but also be aware that when you come back inside, especially in winter, when you go outside, it's really cold and you come inside and it's kind of warm, or vice versa in summer. Yes, good boy. He was about to get off the mat. Good job for making a good decision. But either way, you just want to make sure that when you come back inside, you're also aware that they may need to go in a couple more minutes, and that's okay, especially after a mealtime. This is kind of another super hack, which I think most people get, but you want to be taking your puppy outside to go potty, in my experience, after every meal, anytime after they sleep, nap, any change of any sort, they need to be going outside. Yes, if you have an apartment, you're gonna have to use puppy pads, or you're going to have to find a not super dog populated area to take them out that frequently. Because when they're little, especially like Wally here, right now he's about 14 weeks old and about 12 pounds. And right now he can sleep through the night for about 5 to 7 hours pretty easily with no interruption. But throughout the day, he's gonna need to, he still goes out every 1 to 3 hours to go potty. So it's something that you're just gonna have to accept. And then the next super hack is, a lot of people say, okay, well, it's super cold here. I live in Alaska, or I live in a high-rise condo, or I don't have a backyard. That doesn't mean that you can't follow all of these super hacks, and it doesn't mean you can't follow, yes, my one-step potty training. It just means you're gonna have to be more creative with where they go potty. So if you guys haven't seen my fresh patch video, that was my best alternative potty pad option for people who don't have a backyard. You can click the video up here. Again, it's all linked below. So I'm gonna move this over a little bit so I can get a little bit of distance just to work on duration and changing up the scenery. One thing with dogs and any training you're doing, remember that dogs and puppies, they're situational. My favorite story is one time I was at a puppy training class with my Labrador. This was like 10 years ago. And the trainer asked the class, raise your hand if your dog 100% knows how to SIT. Yes, good boy. And everybody raised their hand. Oh yeah, my dog knows how to do that. My dog knows how to do that. And she said, okay, can everybody get up and show me? And I would say about 2 out of the 15 dogs were able to do it. And the reason is an SIT in the dining room, I'm in my mom's dining room right now, versus an SIT in the backyard are two completely, yes, good boy, are two completely different things to dogs. So me sitting over here makes this PLACE command much more difficult. You'll see that he's a little bit more fidgety because it looks different, it feels different. So for nighttime potty training, a hack on that is when you take the puppy out to go potty, I highly recommend that you are not cuddly with them, you're not playing with them, you're as boring as possible. Go out, use a flashlight if you want to be extra safe. As soon as they go potty, and as soon as they're finishing up going potty, yes, good boy, you want to make sure that you give them their yes command. You don't have to always use your treat or food. You could just use your voice with praise, and then you go right back inside and put them in their crate. And guess what they're likely going to do in the beginning? They're probably going to cry, and that's okay. So with Wally, what we did is we actually woke him up, and that's part of my proactive potty training process. Again, it's all linked down below. When we took him out, we let him go potty, and then we came right back in. We didn't even barely talk to him. We kept it very boring, very still, very quiet, put him in the crate. At night, another hack in the beginning, and he's still doing it today, probably will for the first few months, his crate is right next to my mom's bed, and that way he doesn't feel super isolated and super alone. And eventually she'll probably move it out to her office, I think is where she'll have it, or the living room. And as soon as he went potty, we put him in the crate and we would just go back to sleep and be quiet. And yes, he cried, but here's the thing. We didn't say anything, we didn't react, we just kind of let him cry for a little bit. And we made sure he wasn't injured or needed anything, of course. And in about 10, 15 minutes, he'd stop whining. And the first night, I think it was like 20 minutes. And then the second night was like 22 minutes. And then the third night, it was like 15 minutes. And then by the fourth night, it was like 5 minutes of crying. And it wasn't screaming chaotic, it was kind of this whimper. And yes, good job. And because we were conditioning him to love being in his crate throughout the day, every day, all my crate training videos are down below on how to turn the crate into Disneyland. He self-soothes very quickly. And because of that, he wasn't having accidents in the crate. He also wasn't having as many accidents and needing to go out as often throughout the night because we were mentally stimulating him throughout the day. We worked on him learning to love the crate and just basic fun games and basic cues and basic obedience in the crate all throughout the day, even on day one of coming home. You see how he's getting restless? He's kind of moving around, and that's because he's a puppy and I'm asking him to sit there for a very long time. You're doing very good. Yes, this is for 14 weeks old to have his food right here. If you're wondering, this is what he's eating. He's eating a raw, fresh food diet. You can find it from your independent pet store. I feel like I say this 10 times. All what I feed Wally and my favorite food for puppies is linked down below or right up here. But it is literally just raw meat, raw crushed bone, raw organ. It's not processed. The only preservative is the freezer that it's stored in, and then we defrost it and then feed it to him. It's like a hamburger patty. It's the most nutrient dense food we could feed a puppy. And then we also made sure that we bought him a crate that would be big enough for him to grow into. If you follow me at all, you know I am a huge fan and big advocate of Diggs crates. That's a special code for you, linked down below. Definitely check them out. And what I loved about it is we bought him the medium one because they're good for dogs, I think between 30 to 40-ish pounds, which is what he should be full grown. And it comes with a puppy divider. So there's a gate that we put in the middle of it when he was really little. He's grown since, and that way he didn't have, it wasn't like a tight space, but it was a little bit smaller. So he wasn't as inclined to go potty inside his crate because that's his little nesting bed area. Now for this next super hack, it's something that I don't hear a lot of people talk about. So it's, I think, gonna be very helpful for you. And it has to do with what we do when they do have an accident inside the house. And then I'm going to talk about some really important signals you need to be watching for so that you know when they're gonna need to go potty. But we're gonna level this up a little bit, and I'm gonna put his food on the floor in front of him. Yes, good boy. And this is definitely testing him. So if I'm half distracted, that's why, but I want you guys to kind of be part of his growing up process. I'm documenting him growing up, and you can see there's a ruler behind me. I just don't want to miss a minute of working with Wally. He's such a good kid. But one thing that people get confused on is, okay, well, what do I do when my puppy has an accident in the house? Because even me, who's done this so many times, Wally has absolutely had accidents in the house, and it happens, and it's okay. So set your expectations and understand that it's a reality. The way you respond to it, though, is completely your choice and can completely slow down or speed up the process. And what I recommend, what's always worked for me, is first and foremost, never, ever punish the puppy for going potty inside. Here is the thing. If your puppy goes potty in the house, it is 100% wholeheartedly, and I say this with love, your fault. And I don't mean that as a combative statement, because again, he's had accidents in the house and that was my fault. I take ownership of that. But the reason it's your fault is because puppies, they tell you when they need to go, which I'm going to tell you in a minute what those signals are, but they tell you when they need to go every single time. And sometimes we miss it because it's life and we're human and nobody's expected to be perfect, and it's okay. But if you go into it with that expectation, understanding that it's on us and there's going to be accidents, and the best way to handle it is just to, one, not punish them, but once they go, we pick them up, we take them outside right away. That's the first thing we do. We don't scream, we don't yell, we just pick them up, we take them outside. Most times they'll finish going outside, give them a good opportunity to do it. If they finish going outside, you better reward the heck out of that puppy. If you can, grab a treat by that treat jar, from that treat jar you left by the back door. And if they go outside, after they've gone inside, you reward them as they're finishing up. Yes, good puppy, go potty, good job, yay, good job. Because what you want them to learn is, okay, I went inside and I could sense mom and dad wasn't happy because I know that you're gonna feel that, I did. And you pick them up, you go outside, but then when I peed on the grass, I got lots of treats and praise, so maybe I want to pee on the grass. And the other reason why you don't want to punish is oftentimes you're just going to scare the puppy. And what's going to happen in that situation is they're not going to want to show you, yes, good boy, look how good he's doing. They're not going to want to show you or tell you when they need to go. In fact, they'll be more likely to hide their signals from you of when they need to go, and that's going to result in more accidents and slower potty training. So punishing your puppy, in my experience, I've never done it, but it's something I would never recommend. Good boy, you're doing so good. Now let's talk about signals. What I want you to remember, and I know I just said this, but please remember this. Your puppy will always tell you when they need to go potty. You just have to be able to understand their language, just like we are expecting them to understand our language. And the way that they tell you is gonna vary puppy to puppy, and it's gonna change potentially and evolve as they get older. So you've got to be adaptable, just like we want them to be adaptable to us and our crazy world we brought them into. So the most common signals are obviously sniffing. If you see your puppy start to sniff, they need to go out. Also, oftentimes when puppies have accidents inside, it's usually in the same general area. And if you see your puppy start to walk to that area, even if they've just gone out, they need to go outside. If your puppy is sitting down, let's say you have an antler that they're chewing on. If you guys want to see my favorite puppy chews, they're linked down below. Let's say they start walking in circles. Like let's say they're just hanging out and all of a sudden they're kind of walking in circles. They need to go out. Let's say they change behavior. Let's say all of a sudden they start getting scoochy butt. That's what we call when they kind of do little zoomies around the room. They need to go out. If they just woke up from a nap, they need to go out. If they just drank some water or had a treat or had some food, they need to go out. If they just had a play session, either with you or your family or a dog, they need to go out. So it's really important just to be aware that puppies may need to go out as much as every 45 minutes. Yes, you heard me right in the beginning. They may need to go out that often, and that's okay. And they may need to go out and then go potty and come back inside and need to go potty again a few minutes later. There was one day we thought Wally had a UTI. We really did. And we took him to the vet. Even though I know better, it's just when you're in it in the moment, it just sometimes you're tired, you're sleep deprived. And he had to go potty, so we took him out. He did a good, nice number 1 and a number 2. And then we came back in, and he needed to go again. I could tell, so okay, let's take him out. So then he'd gone twice in like 5 minutes. I was like, okay, he's gotta be good now. Then he had an accident inside because he was kind of sniffing, but we thought he was sniffing for the food because we dropped some of his food on the floor. Nope, he had to go potty. So I was like, okay. So he went potty, so I took him back outside, rewarded him, did that whole thing. So now he'd gone potty 3 times in like 20, 30 minutes. So we're like, okay, he's definitely got an empty bladder. Hasn't had water the past probably half hour. Then he had to go again, and he started kind of moving around the room, and I didn't think anything of it because he'd gone 3 times and he had another accident in the house. This is all within like a 40-minute span. So just beware that especially in the beginning, they're gonna do things randomly, but they do always tell you. There's always a signal, and it may be quick, it may be brief, and it may not seem obvious, but it is always there. So it's up to us to really be aware of that. Look how good you're doing, Wally. Can we show the world how good you're doing? Just so proud of you. He's just staying on his little mat. Okay, can you wait there? And we're gonna step back just a few steps because why not? I just am so proud. Look at this, guys. I show you in the video link down below how to do that. Yes, good boy. Good boy. All right, I'm gonna let him finish the bowl in here. And if you guys want to learn more again about what I'm feeding him and my favorite types of food for puppies, click the video linked right here. And if you want to see my favorite toys and pet products for Wally, and puppies, click the video right here. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Goodbye.